All right, if I can have everybody's attention, we'll get this show on the road.
So you were going to ring up the okay, so maybe that would be it. So.
Welcome everybody, I'm Greg Galliette, Senior Vice President in charge of marketing for the Bats, and we welcome you to the annual preseason press conference. We've got a lot on the plate today we want to talk about, but first and foremost, we'll recap. Last year, unfortunately, was kind of a tough year for our ball club. We struggled on the field, and it was reflective, obviously, in the one-loss record. But we're so appreciative to the Cincinnati Reds, particularly here during the off-season. They've been very aggressive in signing free agents for us, and obviously you're going to hear about some prospects that will be coming here to our ball club. One in particular, Billy Hamilton, who just caught the eye of everybody across the national baseball landscape last year, who is slated to be our opening day center fielder, and we'll talk more about him. But also another gentleman we may hear about, and Jeff Guape is here, who is the Director of Player Development of the Cincinnati Reds. He'll address some of your questions about personnel and players. But Jeff, a guy that I'm really excited about possibly having on the Bats roster opening night is Mike Hessman. Mike has been in this league, I think, for about 10 years. He just seemed to destroy us each and every year with his home run bat. I remember watching many a game where he hit balls onto Witherspoon, and it'll be so nice to have him in a Bats uniform hitting home runs for the Louisville Bats this year. So we're excited about him. But off the field, we've been quite busy since the season ended. We've got a lot of new things that we've got planned. We've actually doubled the number of giveaways that we'll be doing this year. That's something that our fans have been asking for, and the polling we've been doing of them the last couple of years. Of course, we're also known for a lot of the entertainment action. See those here. So we think from a fan's perspective, especially off the field, we've got a lot of neat things planned. Some of the interesting things we have planned here, let me show you real quickly. One of the items we've got coming up Memorial Day weekend is this attractive, patriotic Bats hat that we're giving away that weekend. Our second dog day is going to feature a Bats dog bowl that we'll be giving away. So if you've got a dog, be sure you're here for that. And then also, finally, for every kid that joins the Louisville Bats Kids Club this year, we're very excited. When the child joins and becomes a member of our Kids Club, they'll actually get a replica Bats jersey. And also, obviously, the free membership each Sunday with their membership card. So these are a few of the items, a few of the things we have planned. And of course, you're going to probably hear today a little bit about the Buddygram. And next week, in honor of Valentine's Day, we've got Buddy back going out around the community to 24 lucky people who call us. And we're going to send Buddy back with a personal Valentine with roses. So you'll be seeing and hearing more about that. But on to the baseball side, let me introduce to you right now, he's driven down here from the Cincinnati Reds, Director of Player Development for the Cincinnati Reds, Mr. Jeff Guape.
Thank you for having me down. This is always an annual event for us that we're excited about. Spring has come upon us and the season's approaching, so exciting times for us. And from everyone I've heard of, the caravan stop here was a tremendous event. We always appreciate the support from the Louisville community. With that in mind, addressing last year, last year was a tough season for the Louisville Bats. Win-loss record. We had to steal a couple players and use them to acquire Matt Latos, which helped us in Cincinnati, but definitely didn't help Louisville enough. Due to the timing of that, it was just tough to find those quality free agents to come in and make a difference. This year, we're excited. We're committed to putting a quality team on this field. And I think with the blend of young players that we have coming, which you've heard about a few of them, and the quality free agents that we brought in, I think we will have a good product for the fans to come and see. It should be a good time. And with that in mind, we've also addressed the manager position and brought in a quality manager here with no disrespect to the guys we've had in the past, but Jim Riggleman is a major league manager with a major league track record. We're going to expect Jim, and I know he's up to it, to put a major league product on the field here. We're just going to continue to bridge the gap between being a AAA team and blended it with the major league team and being ready to help at any moment. So with that in mind, again, I want to thank you guys for having me out. I guess some questions later. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce to everybody. We're very excited to have him here. I've gotten to know him a little bit now this morning. Had a chance to chat with him, and he's got me very excited. I'm ready for opening day right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the new manager of the Louisville Bats, Mr. Jim Riggleman.
Thank you. I know we have a great group here and look forward to talking a little baseball and maybe answer some questions and so forth. But just a couple comments. I was here in Louisville in '82 when the ball club came in, the Cardinals came in, and I was here just a very short time. Some in the room may remember Joe Frazier was the manager here then, and I was a coach for Joe, and it was a great opportunity for me then, but it was such a short-lived situation. It was just a couple months and some changes were made in the organization, and I got my first chance to manage in the minor leagues, so I was assigned to St. Petersburg and started my managing career, but my remembrances of Louisville were very fond. And since that time, talked to many people, both from the Cardinals back in the days and most recently, of course, the Reds, that just rave about the situation here. And a little bit of experience here today going around the ballpark. I see why. It's a great ballpark. It's just got a great feel to it. It's got a lot of the character, that you like to see in stadiums that they've been able to grasp here with the look and the comfort of it, and just a very inviting place. So I'm excited about being here. I know that, as Jeff said, the organization has been really committed to the Major League club, and as it should be, trying to make it better. And sometimes that means you got to lose some of your prospects. The organization got hit hard for a couple years in a row, losing some prospects, and the AAA club was affected by that. But I think that they've really tried to restock the shelves a little bit. Got a chance to have some talent here. Looking at it on paper, it looks like it's got a chance to be a good ball club. I think, like most clubs, it comes down to pitching, generally how good will your pitching be, and we're bringing up a couple good prospects from AA that pitched for me last year in Pensacola that I think can help. So overall, I think it's got a chance to be a more successful season here, but I know I'm just really looking forward to it. Just as Jeff and Greg said, I'm looking forward to getting out to Arizona, get through that, and get us here and get our team together and get after it. Minor league baseball is tremendous. I love minor league baseball. Like most people, if you're in a minor league, you're still striving to get to the big leagues, but minor league baseball is a special situation, special atmosphere. I love being in that atmosphere, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Jim will be available for question and answer, so if anybody has any questions at this time, and also afterwards for private one-on-ones.
Anybody got anything? Please just ask away, and we'll talk a little baseball.
So what is the role of a manager in the minor leagues versus the major leagues as far as roster selection? Do you have much input with the Reds and who you get to do?
Well, it's a nice dynamic. It kind of just seems to flow. I think as Jeff and Bill Bavasi and Freddie Benavides and Walt Jocketty, as they kind of have ideas about who would be at the various clubs, who would be at Louisville, who would be at Pensacola, and so forth. It pretty much kind of generally coincides with what the managers in the minor leagues are feeling anyway. We can't nail down the 25 that would be here, but we can get pretty close by all agreeing that there's certain players that it's the natural step. They've done everything they can do at a certain level. They're ready to go to the next level. So those become, pretty much unanimous. Everybody feels the same way. And then, there's some room for discussion on a couple guys. Maybe the manager might feel like, well, I'd really like to have this player, and to do that, that means maybe we don't have this other one, and some other people in the room who might feel like, now we got, that kid's got to be there with you. So, there's some give and take with it, but it's pretty much a team effort in putting it together.
Skip, can you talk about some of the players that will be your first-time players?
I think the ones that I feel pretty confident, and there'll be some others that I will certainly be wrong on, but I think starting with the pitching, guys like Tony Cingrani, Dan Corsino, they have not been at this level yet. I'm confident that they're ready to make that step after watching them in Pensacola last year. A couple of relievers, Justin Freeman did a great job for us in AA. I think he's got a real good chance to help the bullpen here, as does Curtis Parch. Wilkin De La Rosa, left-hander's got a chance to come here. He's not pitched here. He's pitched in AAA, but I don't believe he's pitched here. The other guys who were in AA who had not pitched here yet, some of those guys just kind of got to AA about halfway through the year, so we'll probably start at that level. But position player-wise, we talked about Billy Hamilton. You guys are very up on what he's done, and he's got a good chance of starting with us here. Others, probably a lot of repeating guys who were here, such as Negron, and we mentioned Hessman, was played at this level a lot, but Ryan Lamar will be competing for a spot on this ball club. Josh Feldhauer had a really nice year for us in AA, left-handed hitting outfielder that will be coming into spring training trying to make this club. So I think those guys probably are more ready to come here, but and even some of them, there may not be a spot.
Do you think that your time in the major leagues helps carry even more weight with these guys to show them what they need to do to kind of get to that next level?
Well, I don't know. I think, sometimes maybe it's a little bit like if you, I didn't play in the big leagues. If you played in the big leagues, you maybe get the players' attention a little quicker, but that wears off a little while. You still got to go earn it every day. So, the great players who became great managers, they're great managers because they're great managers. They're not great managers because they were great players. And, guys like Leland and Showalter, who never played in the big leagues, they were able to get those players' attention. If you managed in the big leagues and now you're managing in the minor leagues, initially there might be a little bit like, hey, this guy, he managed in the big leagues, maybe he knows what he's doing. But, that wears off after a while, as I said, and you're kind of starting from ground zero and trying to get their attention.
This, if you want to call it the post-steroid era, is there going to be a different emphasis maybe on speed? And I'm just curious in terms of what your expectations are of the players in this new era.
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility. It seems like it's moving that way a little bit. I think people are putting some clubs together with, good athletic bodies and guys who can play a few positions and run the bases and cover ground defensively. And, hitting is huge. It's always going to be important. But now I think that you are going to have to be able to win ball games by creating runs instead of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And so it is, I think it'll be reflected in the way scouts sign players, signing good athletes who can run a little bit. I was very fortunate back in the day to be with the Cardinals when Whitey Herzog was putting those teams together. And, the scouts were signing guys who could run the bases, all of them. Everybody, Lance Johnson and Vince Coleman and Pendleton and Van Slyke and Tommy Herb, those guys could all, they weren't massive people. They were just, you wouldn't recognize them walking down the street because they're average-sized people, but they could play baseball, and they won World Series with that athleticism.
much do you have to sacrifice competition for development in the minor leagues?
Yeah, that is very, that's the core of it, when that umpire says play ball, your competitive juices are flowing. You're trying to win the game. But as you prepare the lineup and you prepare who's going to pitch and who needs to pitch, maybe has not gotten in the game a while, we got to get him in there. Or maybe somebody's pitched 2 or 3 days in a row, you're not going to use them. Those things are a factor. In the major leagues, it's going to be a little more of, the emphasis obviously is going to be on winning. And there's some situations in the big leagues where the club is just going to have to go through a year or two of that type of baseball, even at the big leagues. But for the most part, you've got to win ball games up there. Down here, you're trying to make sure that you're getting the players ready for the next level. And at this level, it happens to be the big leagues is the next level. So you got to kind of finish those players off, get them ready to play in the big leagues. And sometimes that means maybe not pinch hitting for somebody that really needs to be pinch hit for. That if you're going to try to win this game, maybe you've got Hessman sitting over here that you feel like could win this game for us, but we just don't want to get in this kid's head here right now. Let's let him hit for himself, and you might have to give up a game there doing that. But that's certainly a dynamic again that you have to kind of work around.
As a seasoned baseball guy, how do you deal with that? Are you okay with
Yeah.
the idea?
Yeah, my roots are in player development. I coached a little bit for Joe, as I said, then I was fortunate enough to start managing in the minor leagues when I was 29 years old, and at a pretty fast, advanced A level, and was around great instructors like George Kissel, who was one of the greatest instructors in the history of the game. And George was all about player development, getting them ready, and he liked to win too. But you kind of, it was ingrained in you that this is about player development. You can't get your ego into it and get caught up in your win-loss record, and that we're not winning enough games here. This looks bad on me. Don't get too excited with yourself if you're winning games. It's about the players.
I just want to ask one thing about Wrigley Field, if you don't mind, because of your years
Sure.
there. There's a controversy, or there's a plan now to expand it. Any thoughts on the need for that at all, and what's been going on? Have you been watching that at all?
Just a little bit. In the year 11, I was in Wrigley Field a couple times, and I talked to some people there, and they had kind of told me what some of their thoughts were, what they were going to do, and there was some unbelievable. I mean, they were talking about going underground and doing stuff. Maybe they still are. I don't know, but I think they're going to keep the feel of it. They're going to make sure the ivy's still there, and make sure that it still feels like Wrigley Field. And it's this great point of controversy. So I can remember great baseball people saying, "You got to blow this place up." It's the worst. And then other people saying, "This is the greatest place in the world. Don't ever change anything." So it's a great point of contention and conversation. But I think it's probably needed. I know even when I was there, the millions of dollars that were spent there every year just to maintain it. A lot of cracks and keeping it safe, and there's a lot put into it. It's like some old bridges. They're beautiful, but you got to get a new bridge sometimes.
Presumably the Reds are pretty much set their roster. Does that mean you're going to have greater stability with this team?
I think, the Reds have just done a great job. I mean, that's a good ball club, they do a great job. And I think last year it wasn't a lot of injuries. So, that's what you hope for. You hope that you get some clubs together in the minor leagues, they get a chance to get their feet on the ground and get comfortable playing at a level, and they get their confidence built up, so you don't have to be moved too quickly maybe before they're ready. But it all depends on how healthy the big league club is. The big league club is very much set, as you said, but things happen. Joey got hurt last year. Trade is made. Things happen where somebody gets called upon to go up there. But I think that the club that Jeff and Bill and Freddie and Walt decide that needs to come to Louisville, I think it'll have a chance to stay here and form together as a group and stay together. That would be my guess.
Anything else? Jim, one final thing. I get this question all the time when I'm out during the winter. A lot of people have heard about Billy Hamilton, but even maybe seen him on YouTube. For the fans here in Louisville that heard a little bit about him, but really don't know what kind of player he is, tell us what kind of baseball player they're expecting to see when they come out here maybe opening All-Star.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way, when I came to the organization last year, I had heard about Billy, and I was anxious to see him, just as our fans and media will be anxious to see him this year. He joined me halfway through the year this year, and he already had 100 stolen bases. So I think the word that Jeff and others used that really hit home for me, that nails him down, is fearless. And those great base stealers, they have that quality. I don't care how quick the pitcher is to the plate. I don't care who the catcher is. You're going to have to try to throw me out. You can be thrown over. You can try to pick me off. But he does not get deterred. He's a determined and accomplished base stealer. He gets good jumps. He gets big leads. I think that I'm so glad that the record is behind him. Because it's like back in the day when Vince and A-Ball stole 145 bases and then he went to AAA. The record was his. He could play the game, and as he was close to the big leagues, he was going to have to figure out some times where maybe I don't run in this situation. I could run and I could be safe, but maybe it's not the right time to run. And Vince had to learn that, and Billy will do something the same. So, he's not going to be chasing a record. The record is his. I do not anticipate that record being broken. I cannot imagine that Vince has got broken. I just cannot imagine somebody doing what he did, because you got to get on base to do it, and to get on base that much and be that successful. He's not a physically imposing guy, but he is strong physically, and he plays every day. His body held up to it. So very impressive what he did, and hopefully he'll come here and be able to carry some of that on. Thank you.
He'll be available for one-on-ones or as a group, so thank you very much.
All right.